This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Friday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. And it's a big college football weekend. So many games to get to. We have actually 3 college games to go over, 2 NFL games. One of the NFL games, Micah Parsons making his return to Dallas, Packers, Cowboys Sunday night. We're going to talk about that. Also, Jackson Dart, his debut with the Giants against the Chargers. A couple big SEC games, big one in the Big Ten in Seattle. So much to get to, Lee. So without further ado, let's get right to it. And right out of the gate, wrong team favorite.
What the fuck?
WTF.
Guns a-blazing here. Georgia and Alabama hooking up in Athens on Saturday night. Georgia a 3-point favorite. This would be a big one for Kalen DeBoer to get on the road here as an underdog. And Georgia comes in at 3-0. Bama, they lost that opener to Florida State, but they've won back-to-back games. Now, big one to get things going here in late September in Athens. So, Lee, what do you like here with the Crimson Tide and the Bulldogs?
Well, Alabama has owned Georgia. So if you think all of a sudden that Georgia is going to flip it around, well, let's just look at what they've done since the first game of last year. 3-12-1 against the spread. When you see numbers like that, kind of tells you all you need to know. This is not the same Georgia team. In fact, in the game against Tennessee had them. I mean, they were up by 8 points. Somehow allowed a touchdown, 2-point conversion, losing overtime. So that was just one of those games where literally there were 6 or 7 plays. Tennessee makes one play of those 6 or 7. They win the game, couldn't get it done. Georgia wins. So I think the public thinks Georgia is right there where they used to be. They think maybe Alabama's down still because they lost that Florida State game, but that's one game. Teams improve the most from the first to the second game. Am I a little concerned about their run defense? Yeah, they give up 230 yards to Florida State, but they have improved since then. They had some trouble also running the football, but all of a sudden, Jam Miller's coming back for this game. Georgia's weakness is their pass defense, and Alabama, outside of Ohio State, has the best trio of receivers, probably second best receiver in the country, and Ryan Williams. So I think they're going to be able to do some damage here. I just think that you got to take the points. You got to go with history, and Alabama knows how to beat Georgia. They get it done again. They were way down last year, maybe the best game, top 2, top 3. They were down, I think it was like 20-something points, and they roared back and won the game here. So I'm going to take the 2.5, 3 points in Alabama here at Georgia. Wrong team favored. Alabama wins this game, and it's going to be exciting again. 28-27, Roll Tide.
Going back, Lee, to 2012, and I know that historical numbers now, things have changed, NIL, all that stuff. But since 2012, Alabama has lost to Georgia one time. Well, okay, it was a big game, national championship back in the 2021 season. A lot of people forget Alabama was winning in the fourth quarter of that game. Georgia took the lead and then had that late pick 6 to put it away. But, yeah, Alabama's owned them. And Kalen DeBoer got the big win last year in his first season. We know Saban owned Kirby Smart for a long time, but now Kalen DeBoer got that win, and we'll see if he can do it again here. And a lot of eyes will be on that game in Athens. And, yeah, to see if DeBoer can really get that signature road win. We know he could win at home, but got to get that win on the road, though, for the Crimson Tide.
Should be a lot of fun. This is what we live for. We live for college games. They are clearly, over the last decade, 2 of the top 4, 2 of the top 5 teams. So, I mean, that's why you got, like me, you got 3 TV sets. So, mid-afternoon and night games, nothing better than this week.
Well, and also, alongside that at night, South Carolina, Kentucky, we'll get to a pick on that game coming up. You have Penn State, Oregon also. So much going on just Saturday night. There's a lot of great action during the day on Saturday as well. So very good college football card coming up on Saturday. Now let's go to Sunday, and we will take a look now at a hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
In this situation here, Lee, the Chargers 3-0 off 3 big divisional wins. They held off the Broncos, a last-second field goal last Sunday in their home opener to improve to 3-0. Now Jim Harbaugh's team goes cross-country to MetLife Stadium to take on Brian Daboll's winless New York Giants. And Brian Daboll made the move that he gave it 3 games. Russell Wilson was great in week 2 against Dallas, had a bad interception overtime, but was like the old Russell Wilson, and then looked like old Russell Wilson last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. They got shut down in that Sunday night loss. And now back at home, coming up on Sunday, Jackson Dart, the first-round pick out of Ole Miss, who was a star with Lane Kiffin with the Rebels, now making his first NFL start. And I like the Giants here, plus the points, getting 6.5 against the Chargers. It's just the spot. I'm not going to give you a lot of numbers. I'm not going to do it. But Cam Scadaboo, he has 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, so he's getting involved in the offense. We know the Giants still have a couple guys they can throw to. And defensively, I know the Cowboys game, they got shredded a bit, but they held Patrick Mahomes in check last week in that Chiefs game. And even in the Washington game, they did a good job with Jaden Daniels, but the offense just stunk in that game. I think that the Giants here, Lee, I think this is a situational play. Taking them, I think they'll be reinvigorated with Jackson Dart at quarterback now. Doesn't have to worry about him coming in for a play or two like he did the first few weeks for Russell Wilson. Now he's the guy. And the Chargers, I can't see how after 3 big divisional wins, you keep up this intensity this week. I think that the Chargers could win a close game, but I don't see this being a blowout. I'm going to take the points with the Giants here as our hidden gem.
Three more points, Kevin. The reason I like this game, too, and hint, I'm going to be giving this game to my clients. West to East, very important. Number 2, I think the Giants' defensive line is top 2, top 3 in the NFL. They are that good. So I think they're going to be ready. I think the crowd is going to be pumped. And then you can't start Jameis Winston and then bring in Jackson Dart. Doesn't make sense. So I had dinner last night with some New York Giants friends, and they think, oh, you go with Jameis first and then you bring in Dart. No. You bring in the young guy. And then if you need the gunslinger, then you bring in Winston if you're down 10 points to 14 points late. You can't bring in a rookie. I think Jackson Dart's ability to run the football and throw the football is going to present some problems here for the Chargers that they haven't really faced yet this year. So he's got some fresh legs, hasn't played since preseason. He'll be ready to go, and did a pretty good job. Ole Miss, trained by Lane Kiffin. So I have trust in him. Love the move here. And if it works out, they save their job. If not, they're going anyway.
Well, and also the Giants, they get the Saints next week, and I don't know if that's the time to take them, but I think here getting points, and also we know how bad the Giants have been in prime time, so it's not really surprising how bad they played against the Chiefs, but that 1 o'clock game I think is advantageous for the Giants, again, still at home, and the Chargers, they had that travel to Brazil early on, but that was before the season started, and then week 2 they play in Las Vegas. They're playing down the street from LA, I mean, in a sense, and then they're at home last week, and we know the Charger fans don't travel, so you won't have a lot of Charger fans going to New Jersey coming up on Sunday. So let's take the points with the Giants and see what Jackson Dart can do as our hidden gem number 1. Coming up, we still have more college football to get to, a couple of the big games. South Carolina and Kentucky. The Gamecocks beat up the Wildcats last year. Now South Carolina favorite at home. And also Ohio State traveling to Washington. Big one inside the Big Ten. And we'll break down the Packers and the Cowboys. That little bit of drama there. Micah Parsons making his return to Big D coming up on Sunday night. All of that is straight ahead. You are listening to the Friday edition of Locked On Bets. Let's talk about FanDuel. We love FanDuel here on Locked On Bets, and NFL season is here. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. And week 4 already underway. And now going into Sunday, you have Ravens, Chiefs in Kansas City. Big game, Packers, Cowboys on Sunday night. And right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And what can you bet on? I don't know. Everything. Money line, side, total on all these NFL games. Also, we're not going to forget about the college football as well with the big weekend. But just looking at the NFL, you have all these games where you could bet on the side, the total, the money line. Also, player props as well that you could bet on. If you want to bet on Lamar Jackson over under passing yards against the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, what he'll do, what Jordan Love will do on Sunday night against the Cowboys. You have so many options with the player props, and you have the future bets. Josh Allen of the Bills, could he win a second straight MVP? He is the favorite right now at FanDuel to win the most valuable player award. The Buffalo Bills are the Super Bowl favorites also at FanDuel. So Buffalo, with their game against New Orleans, are huge favorites coming up on Sunday. You could bet on all of that right now. And there's so many great options during the NFL season. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. We continue here, Locked On Bets on a Friday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And let's go back to the SEC. We talked Alabama, Georgia earlier, and now it is time to look at Kentucky and South Carolina for a blowout special.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
All right, let's see what Shane Beamer can do here as the coach of South Carolina. And the Gamecocks trying to get on track here against Kentucky. They went into Lexington last year and they beat up the Wildcats. Now the venue shifting back to Columbia. And Lee, what do you like here with South Carolina, Kentucky?
So I think the loser of this game, probably 50% is going to be fired at the end of the year. So why do I say that? I think Stoops' time has kind of run its course there, 13 years. I think if they're going to be a player, they're going to have to let him go and maybe hire someone like John Gruden and open up the wallets and go buy some players and be like basketball. And I think South Carolina, same way. They want to get to the mountaintop. You got to open up the wallet. And both of these two teams are, I mean, they're better than maybe the worst team, but not by much here. So South Carolina, believe it or not, was ranked 11th 2 weeks ago. I said they probably didn't belong in the top 25, lost the last 2 games. Now, you know, you might be able to buy low. You don't want to buy stocks high and sell low. It's buy low, sell high. Now everyone's forgetting about them. They're playing at home against Kentucky teams, can be playing without their starting quarterback. So you get that action coming in. And Lenore Sellers, I still think is good. You know, I've been one of his detractors, said he wasn't a top 5 quarterback, maybe even not 10 or 15, but still a solid quarterback. Threw for 302 yards last week against Missouri and 18 completions. And how bad is Kentucky's pass defense? Well, they're ranked 125th in the country. They allowed 270 passing yards to Toledo, 320 to Eastern Michigan. Sorry, Eastern Michigan. So this is a great setup here. I don't think Kentucky can score. I mean, they haven't scored more than 24 points in a game this year. I think South Carolina is going to break out and just lay it on someone. They don't have top-tier SEC talent, but I think talent-wise, they're probably close to the middle, and Kentucky bottom 3 here. I'm going to lay the 6.5 points. Do it now before the line goes up. Blowout special. The Gamecocks, 38-17 over Kentucky.
South Carolina's beaten Kentucky each of the last 3 years. I want to get your thoughts on this, Lee. Do you think, regardless of how the season goes, that Shane Beamer is going to be in line to take the Virginia Tech job next year?
Could be. I mean, I'm not really sure. You know, if they recover, maybe not. But look at the schedule they have ahead of them. They still have to play LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, and A&M. I think they're lucky to win one of those games. So If I was him, I'd start talking to him now and just, you tell him the situation isn't what I thought it was going to be. I'm ready to go home.
And my last name is the coach of the guy who basically built the program. And I don't have to worry about playing Alabama and Georgia and Florida and all these other teams. And I understand being the SEC is the best, but at least you go to the ACC, a little bit easier to win there. And your name is familiar with the fans. So I got to believe that it's all kind of broken right for him, that regardless of what happens, unless South Carolina wins the SEC championship, which isn't happening, that he'll end up at Virginia Tech coming up next season. So we'll see if that's the case.
Yeah, like you said, a lot easier to win in the ACC than it is in the SEC. And unless they want to spend money, they're not going to be able to play with the big boys.
All right, let's now move to the Big Ten, and Ohio State making its first trip to Seattle to face the Washington Huskies. And these teams, again, first time in the Big Ten together that they're playing each other. We've seen them play in the Rose Bowl in the past. But now it is time for our second blowout special.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
Washington, rather, just blew out Washington State last week. All three games, the Huskies have been a favorite of 20 or more points, and now they're a home underdog to the Buckeyes, and we know how good Ohio State is. And Ohio State, they end up beating Texas in week 1, and now, Lee, what do you think here with the Buckeyes making the trip to the Pacific Northwest to take on UW?
So Washington probably deserves to be in the top 25, but if they win this game, it'll take care of itself. They'll be in the top 15. They are tough out at home. I've been there, went to see Miami play them in the year 2000, and it was earth-shattering loud. And only problem here is don't think they have quite the same team. I think they're a year or two away. They have 3 really good players on offense. Damon Williams, the quarterback, he's 5'11". Listen, he might be 5'10", about 190, 195 pounds, running and throwing. If they win this game, he's going to catapult himself into the top 3. He's that good running and throwing. He has a really good running back in Jonah Coleman. Denzel Boston, super 6'2" receiver, probably going to end the season with 80, 90 catches, 10 to 15 touchdowns. But I don't think they have a good offensive line at all. I think their tight end, their other receivers are just meh. And their defense, I have a problem with their defense. They have allowed 21 and 24 points to Colorado State and Washington State, who are, Mountain West Conference bottom feeder and a Pac-2 nothing. So, they just have played absolutely no one. They have 2 real good cornerbacks, but Ohio State has the best trio receivers in Smith, Ennis, and Tate. So you might be able to cover 1 or 2 of them. You're not going to be able to cover all 3 of them. I think Julian Sayin was really good in the game against Texas. Didn't throw for that many yards, but I think he had 5 or 6 drops. So wasn't his fault. Texas had the ball, these long 70, 80, 90-yard drives, one that was stopped at the 1-yard line. So I know it's his first road game, but they have a week to prepare for this game. They're really good. Ohio State, they get the cream of the crop, and Washington just doesn't quite get the next level athletes just yet. So tough place to play, but having the bye week, I think, helps you out here. So I think it might be tight for a while. Then I think Ohio State blows it open, wins this game 38-24. I'm going to lay the 8.5 points. The look-ahead line in this game was 13 a week ago. Then it opened at 9.5. I made the game 10.5 was my line and bet down to 8.5. I think you're getting value. Blowout special. Ohio State wins by 2 touchdowns and stays number 1.
Yeah, a couple big games, the Big Ten, Oregon, and Penn State. And we mentioned that on the show earlier in the week. So just, again, a loaded college football card coming up on Saturday. We'll go back to the NFL up next. Packers visiting Big D to take on the Cowboys, and we'll see if Green Bay can bounce back from their last-second meltdown against Cleveland. That is coming up. You're listening to Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Friday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. as the Sunday night game, Packers-Cowboys, you just saw it on the schedule, and then when the Micah Parsons trade happened, everyone's like putting the alarms on that Micah Parsons making his return to Dallas Sunday Night Football. So like, oh, okay, we'll circle this game and be interested in it. So Packers-Cowboys coming up on Sunday night. Both teams coming up a loss last week. It's time now for our lock of the day.
Open it, open it, open it! Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
Another lost season for the Cowboys. If they lose this one, they'd be 1-3, and the only win would come in overtime against the Giants. So that's not good after they got shredded by the Bears last week. And the Packers, they were on their way to 3-0. I don't know what happened in that game. You're up 10 late, and somehow Cleveland gets 13 on you. They blocked the field goal at the end. That would have been the go-ahead score for Green Bay. Browns end up walking off and winning it. So, Lee, Packers favorite here on the road against the Cowboys. What do you like here?
So I wouldn't normally like this game that much if Green Bay was coming into this game 3-0. But the way that they played, I thought the entire game, I thought it was listless. They should have been up 20-0, not 10-0 in that game. And they just let it get away. I thought the play calling was poor. And, well, you also have two head coaches here that call plays. So sometimes that tends to be a big problem. And they lost to a quarterback that is just not good at all. So I just felt that they let that game get away. Now they're going to face a Dallas team, and they're going to have one motivated edge rusher in Micah Parsons. So might want to look to see, should be coming out shortly, the player props there. Maybe hint anything under 1.5 sacks. Might want to go with the over. He might just blitz on his own here in this game just a couple times. The over-under on kids or people they show in the stands wearing Cowboys 11 jerseys or altered jerseys got to be at like, I don't know, maybe like 4.5 or something like that. It's going to be high. So this is going to be a problem for Dallas. They're going to be without CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, when he's on, is a top 5 receiver in the NFL. So you normally have your best cover corner covering him, and then the second guy would cover Pickens. Now you get to have your top guy cover Pickens and then on down the road. I think it's a big problem here for Dallas. Both teams' play calling hasn't been great here. They're relying on the passes, Dallas, and just think that Green Bay is going to be very motivated for this game here. They punched Detroit in the face the first game. You saw what they were all about. Did the same to Chicago. Just one of those games. They just let it slide. Non-conference game, but with the motivation, playing fast here. I think they have so many speed players at receiver. They've got like 4 or 5 receivers, and I think Jordan Love's also going to have a bounce-back game. That interception he threw late in the fourth quarter to no one but the defender, big mistake. So I think Green Bay's the play here. You can get them under a touchdown. They win this game here big, 40-24.
And also, too, Lee, since Green Bay plays the last game of the night, Minnesota plays Pittsburgh out in Ireland. They got the early game on Sunday. Detroit is a double-digit favorite against Cleveland. All 3 teams are 2-1 right now. If Detroit and Minnesota win, you're 3-1. If Green Bay stubs their toe, you're 2-2. So that good start now kind of disappears, and you're in second place in the division. So that's how big this game is for Green Bay, that assuming all of them win, you're still all 3-1, but you're still in good shape. Like you said, your only loss is out of conference, and you'd be 2-0 in the NFC. Actually, you'd be now 3-0 in the NFC.
Yeah, big game. I mean, that division is loaded. Minnesota, even with the injury to J.J. McCarthy, looks good. You know, they're getting back Addison, one of their top receivers. Detroit, after getting punched in the face the first game, has come back and won the next 2 games and knocked off Baltimore on the road, and Green Bay's right there. I mean, everyone loves Philly, but if they're the best, maybe the next 3 teams are coming from this division.
All right, Lee, big weekend in football. So tell us what's going on at Paramount Sports and how people can get in touch with you.
Well, you want to get the games for this weekend, September to Remember special. It's our executive phone service. We rate the games from 10 to 50 units. So you want to hop on board, use coupon code SAVE100, just $97. You're going to get probably 12 to 15, 13 to 16 games from tonight all the way through Monday night. There's a lot of games I love, and you'll get the star rating from 10 to 50 units. And we've been money on our 35 to 50 unit games. On top of that, let's say you want to join us for 5 weeks. We call it not October, Locktober, 5 weeks through October 31st. That's just $497 with the same coupon code SAVE100. And UFC card going, 7 selections. That UFC card is coming from Perth, Australia. Starts at 7 o'clock Eastern. 7 selections, just $37. And we've won 13 of the last 16 cards. So everything's up and available. Huge weekend here at Paramount Sports. So ParamountSports.com or give us a call, 800-400-9741.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets. We appreciate your support there, and also the podcast version. If you just want to listen to us, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. You can also find Lee on X at Paramount Sports, myself at Rogers Picks. We will talk to you again coming up on Monday. Best of luck this weekend with all your bets. And again, you've been listening to Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.